Good morning guys, I hope we are well. Today we're going to be learning what direct proportion is and how we can use this information to make our calculations. So let me give you an example. Let's say Joe buys 2 tickets to watch Celtic. He pays £60 for these 2 tickets. My question is, well, how much would 4 tickets cost? Pause the video if you need to and unpause the video when you're ready. Well, if 2 tickets cost £60, well, to get from 2 tickets to 4 tickets, I have doubled that quantity. If I double my amount of tickets, I must also double the amount of money. So if I double £60, so multiply £60 by 2, that gives me £120. 4 tickets cost £120. We can also think about this backwards. To get from 4 tickets to 2 tickets, I have divided by 2. And to get from £120 to £60, I have divided by 2. It's not just up and down in this model that this consistent relationship works. Think about it from left to right. To get from 2 to 60, I have multiplied by 30. To get from 4 to 120, I've also multiplied by 30. Notice that these values are the same. If I do this backwards, so from right to left, I'm dividing by 30. Do we notice that no matter which direction I'm looking at, I will always have a pair of consistent multipliers or consistent divisions? This means that these two quantities are in proportion. So when two things are in proportion, so when two things are proportional, they increase or decrease at the same rate. So for example, in that first question, I noticed that the rate of increase was multiplying by 2. Okay, I'm going to change the question slightly, and I want you to try this for yourself. Instead of 4 tickets, I'm now asking you how much would 5 tickets cost. So please pause the video and unpause the video when you're ready. Okay, so we know that 2 tickets are £60, so how do we get from 2 tickets to 5 tickets? Well, this question is slightly more trickier because 2 does not go into 5, so there's not some nice simple multiplication I can do to get from 2 to 5, so I'm going to do this in 2 steps. Okay, so if I know that 2 tickets are £60, it's quite easy to work out the value of 1 ticket. If I take 2 tickets and half it, that will give me 1 ticket. So £60 divided by 2 gives me £30. If I know that 1 ticket is £30, that means that if I multiply this quantity by 5 and the other quantity by 5, that tells me that 5 tickets are £150. And that is my final answer. So we could say that if we're looking for an amount that doesn't go into our original value, so say if we're trying to get from 2 tickets to 5 tickets, the simple way to do it is use a unitary method. By unitary method, I mean find the value of 1 unit. So find the value of like 1 ticket, for example. Yeah, so when you have a trickier values, find the value of 1 unit first. It's an easy trick that we can learn. Okay, so let me give you another example of 2 quantities which are in proportion. Let's say if you're going to go on holiday to America, before you go, you want to change some pounds into dollars because they don't use pounds in America, they use dollars. So I'm going to tell you that £1 is approximately $1.20. My question to you is, how many dollars will I get for £8? So if I know that £1 is $1.20, how many dollars do I get for £8? I'm going to tell you that these two values are proportional, so they increase at the same rate. So let's ask ourselves, how do we get from £1 to £8? What is that calculation? Well, I have multiplied it by 8. Because these two quantities are in proportion, they must share that same multiplier. They share that same rate, which means that to get from $1.20 to that value of dollars, which I don't quite know yet, I'm also going to multiply it by 8. So I don't mind if you use a calculator for this. So $1.20 multiplied by 8, using my calculator, that's going to take me to $9.60, and that is my answer. Let's try a trickier one. I'm going to ask you this question backwards now. So let's say I have $8. So I finished my holiday in America, but I've got $8 left. So I brought back $8 in my wallet, but I don't need dollars anymore because I'm back in the UK. If I went to exchange these dollars for pounds, how many pounds would I get for $8? So pause the video if you want to try it for yourself. If you're not sure, just leave the video running. Alright, so just like before, this is a trickier question because 1.2, so $1.20, it doesn't nicely go into $8, does it? So do you remember what we said? When these values get trickier, we're going to use a unitary method. So find the value of $1 first, and then we can easily find $8. So to get from $1.20 to $1, I'm going to divide $1.20 by itself. If you divide any number by itself, you get 1. So 1.20 divided by 1.20 gives me 1. Because I've divided the right-hand side of my model by 1.2, I'm going to divide the left-hand side by 1.20 as well. Right? So that gives me around 83p, but on my calculator it will say 0.8333333, and these 3's are going to go on forever. And what I'm going to do, I'm not going to round this yet. I'm only going to round at the end, because if I round too early, my answer is going to be ever so slightly off. So I'm going to leave this value in my calculator and save it for my next part of my calculation. So I've got the value of $1, so I know $1 is about 83p, but how do I get from $1 to $8? Well, this bit's a bit easier than my last step. To get from 1 to 8, I'm multiplying by 8. So this value that I've kept in my calculator, remember I haven't pressed cancel or clear yet, I'm taking this value and then I'm pressing times by 8 on my calculator, and that gives me around £6.67. So I've now rounded it to the nearest penny. Okay, so if you can find your work on Google Classroom, so I've attached a PDF file for you. So for example, in the first question, 10 sweets cost £3.40, you need to tell me, well, how much would 20 sweets cost? What about 30 sweets, and so on. So if you've got tricky quantities like, say, 37, you might want to try and find the value of 1 sweet first using that unitary method. So please let me know if you need any help. Thanks very much, guys.